It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning and welcome to the Scootaround Wednesday Travel and Cruise Industry News. On this, the 25th day of January 2023, coming to you from Bedford County in Central Virginia. On a kind of yucky day here. Weather's looking a little iffy for my travel day tomorrow, but so be it. Headlines today: Holland America adding Greenland, Iceland, and Newfoundland in 2024. Norwegian changes Greek Isles cruises. Norwegian's adding more cruises from Baltimore, which is interesting. Cunard offers Rocky Mountaineer train tours. And the Nassau port CEO speaks out. Those stories and a lot more here at 11 o'clock this morning. Today, folks, is National Irish Coffee Day. I generally don't put adult beverages, mix my adult beverages in coffee. I like my coffee as coffee, so I'm not a huge fan of Irish coffee. But however, today, just to celebrate that, I put a little taste, not really a full shot, but a little taste in my coffee this morning to celebrate National Irish Coffee Day. So I've already celebrated. If you're listening via the podcast, you can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net. Usually, if things go right technically, of course, with me, that's always a challenge. Things go right with me technically, the podcast is posted within 15 or 20 minutes after the end of the broadcast. So, and that's across all of the podcast networks. You can always access the podcast anywhere you get your podcast from. All the big guys have it. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the fat travel guy. So that's an easy way to get to it. Anytime you're listening via the podcast, if you want to hop over and take a look at videos or pictures that we might be using on that show, there's always a link in the description to access the video feed. Just click on it. You can hop over and you can come right back to your podcast. All right, a couple announcements this morning. Again, tomorrow there will be no show. In case you missed out on my announcement earlier in the week on that, I've changed my policies when I'm on cruises. On port days, I'm going ashore. Most times that conflicts with the show. So on those days, I'll do a show, but it's going to be earlier in the morning. And I won't know until my port schedule, but it's probably going to be somewhere around 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It might be earlier, depending on the situation. It could be a little later, but at any rate, I am going to go ashore at all of my ports this year. Also tomorrow, and the reason, by the way, that I'm canceling the show tomorrow is, which is different from the ports, is it's a travel day for me, that my schedule just doesn't work with me doing a show. I have to drive to Richmond, be there by, 9-ish or so, to transfer over to the airport where I'm parking my car. Then they want me there 2 hours before the flight. So my flight's not until I think it's 11:30, 11:40, something like that. So at any rate, it just doesn't hit at the right time for me to, number one, research and write a show, to produce it. And then, in fact, when I should be on the show, I'm going to be on the airplane getting ready to take off. Also, tomorrow afternoon, the Cruise Amigos have been canceled. Again, I'll be on an airplane by then heading into New Orleans. But Amigo John also has a conflict with some kind of, oh heck, what was it called? Anyway, he's got to be with his lawyers and the county or the city. I can't remember which, but it's on zoning. That's what it was. Zoning hearing. So he's not available. And Amigo Martin just doesn't have the controls to set up and run the show from on that side of the pond. So as a result, Cruise Amigos are canceled tomorrow as well. As far as me making up for tomorrow's show, I'll make up for that with a number of live streams, I hope, is on the Norwegian breakaway this week. And of course, we'll have the Cruise Amigos from on the breakaway next Thursday. Also, for you solo cruisers that have started watching my show, we are going to have a live stream tonight to go over and clear up all the, I shouldn't call them screw ups, confusion, inconsistencies on pricing and perks for the hosted cruise May 1st. We have that all straightened out now, and I think it's going to be information that a number of you will be a lot more comfortable with than we were when it had some confusion involved. I was with you and being unhappy about the confusion, and that's all been fixed now, and I'm really excited about heading on toward the 1st of May. And I believe that we're going to sell out real quickly now. So, all right, I will be back with the latest from Hot Air Tom in South Africa after this.
Do you have a bad back, bad hips, bad knees, or any other mobility issues? Think about Scootaround. For scooters, walkers, wheelchairs, even oxygen needs, delivered right to your cabin. Scootaround for all your mobility needs on your upcoming cruise.
And of course, you can get Scootaround rentals. Doesn't have to be a cruise. If you're staying in a hotel, like I'm going into New Orleans for 3 days, they're delivering a scooter to my hotel tomorrow. So I'll have a scooter there for the 3 days that I'm in a hotel. Just call Scootaround. The number's there. My SRN number, so I'd get a little credit for it. It's also there. And it's also down in, of course, the description of all of my live streams or videos. All right, the last time we heard from Hot Air Tom, if I remember correctly, he was wrestling a rhinoceros or something just totally insane. Well, actually, what happened with the rhinoceros is that he got a little skittish, as you might imagine, and now he's a little worried about other such vicious creatures as the rhinoceros. So Hot Air Tom was down in South Africa, and he went to the Seal Island, you see. But what happened was when he got on the dock there, this is where he showed his skin. This was right after the incident with the rhinoceros. And you'll notice he's keeping his distance from those vicious creatures that he was afraid would attack him again, like the rhinoceros. So then what happened next was that Cindy says, well, look, dude, you can't go through your life being afraid of of vicious creatures like that awful seal. So you got to get your butt out to Seal Island. So that's where he went. So his next stop was at Seal Island, so he wouldn't be afraid of seals anymore. And he actually got over pretty close to them, at least for a while there. And but there's a whole bunch of seals, so he kind of got used to them. And then there's a big time difference here, folks, because that was apparently yesterday, and then today, this is hot air Tom out at Penguin Island. No, it's not Penguin Island. I forget what they call it. It's some other island with penguins. But he's been in trouble before with penguins. And I think it's Rock Island with penguins. And once again, hot air Tom tried to nab a penguin to put it back in his suitcase and take it back to Richmond. And they stopped him before he left the preserve there in Cape Town and made him dump the penguin out of his carry bag that he was going to take back to try to get it in his suitcase. So that's the latest from Hot Air Tom in South Africa. And that's the truth, and I'm sticking with it all the way to the bank. I'll be back with today's news after a quick break from one of our network sponsors. All right, today's top story has to deal with Holland America. And this got on my radar as soon as I read this morning. Holland America in 2024 will shine a spotlight on Canada and New England cruises, deploying 2 ships to the region during April to October season. The 1,400 roughly guest Volendam and the 1,900 guest Zuiderdam will anchor a series of cruises to Canada and New England, including Newfoundland, Greenland, and Iceland. From mid-May to October, Volendam will operate 7-day Canadian and New England discovery cruises between Boston and Montreal, historic coast cruises sailing round trip from Boston that will have Volendam calling in Maine, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia. The Volendam also will offer a 10-day Newfoundland and New England discovery cruise between Boston and Montreal, calling in ports in Quebec, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, and Maine, and an 11-day departure calling in Maine, New Brunswick, Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, and Quebec. The ship will also circumnavigate Iceland on a 24-day expedition round trip from Boston, departing July 27th, that's of 2024, and call on 6 destinations in Iceland and 10 ports in Greenland, Maine, Nova Scotia, Labrador, and Newfoundland. From late August through September, the Zuiderdam will sail 7-day Canadian and New England discovery itineraries between Boston and Quebec, and will have a repositioning cruise from Quebec to Fort Lauderdale. That would be in October. The date on that has not been released yet. Now, some of you remember that just before the pandemic shutdown, I did side-to-side cruises on the Zuiderdam and then the Carnival Sunrise, and got home, and a couple days later the pandemic hit and everything got shut down. And then my health went to hell and all the intervening health issues. But the Zuiderdam that we're talking about in the story has always been one of my favorite ships. I love the Zuiderdam. I've not been on Volendam yet. I have several Holland America cruises booked now. I don't have one yet on the Volendam. So maybe I'll look at the Volendam for one of these. I'd love to do the Zuiderdam again. I love that ship. We'll see. I have a feeling I'll be doing one of those in 2024. Because I have not been to Iceland. I've not been to Greenland. I've been to Newfoundland once. So we'll have to see. The next story today has to deal with the Norwegian. And the ship that I'm getting on this weekend. However, it's not dealing with New Orleans, as I am. Guests booked for a summer Greek Isles cruise aboard Norwegian Breakaway may not be getting the itinerary it was initially planned. Norwegian has been contacting guests booked on 2023 sailings about schedule changes. The email, which was sent to affiliated travel partners to be shared with booked guests, kind of a backhanded way of getting the information out instead of doing it directly to the guests, notes itinerary changes on the 10-night sailings, including departures in August and September of 2023. Norwegian Breakaway is offering Greek Isles cruises starting in May through early November. Now, we just know of a couple dates. There may be additional dates impacted that they haven't announced yet. For the sailings mentioned, it appears that Corfu has been removed and replaced with either Olympia or Augustoli. The time spent in ports of call have also been altered for Valletta, Messina, and Mykonos. While at the moment the changes are only confirmed for Norwegian Breakaway, it should also be noted that the Norwegian Jade and Norwegian Gem and the upcoming Norwegian Viva are all offering Greek Islands cruises during 2023 and may also be subject to similar itinerary changes. The only thing that Norwegian has said is unforeseen circumstances. So they're not even saying why they're making these changes. So for the specific cruises that are affected, if you've got a Greek Isles cruise, you need to check with your provider and see if it affects you at all, or directly with Norwegian, because it appears to me to be a mess. And again, I get upset with the cruise lines, and it seems like I've been upset with Norwegians more recently than most. I sure wish they'd be a little more transparent. You know, we're big boys and girls. You know, we wear big boy pants and dresses. We can take change. Just be honest with us. Tell us why. If there's something wrong with Corfu, let us know. If the Corfu raised the price and it doesn't fit into your budget, tell us that. Who knows? You know, is there something wrong with Corfu? Is the water foul? Don't say or unforeseen circumstances. Well, then they come back and they do something good for a change, which is nice. Norwegian is adding more departures out of Baltimore. After deploying the Norwegian Sky to Homeport for a short fall program, the cruise line is also sending the Norwegian Sun to the American Homeport. I have some great fondness, well, actually, the Sky and the Sun, but particularly for the Norwegian Sun. I'll get to that in a second. Complementing the offer of its sister ship, the 2001 built vessel is set to offer round-trip sailings to Bermuda and the Caribbean in late 2023. Following the summer in Alaska, the Norwegian Sun repositions to the east coast via a Panama Canal cruise to Port Canaveral. After arriving in Florida in late November, the 2,000 guest vessel heads to Baltimore, where it is set to arrive on November 22nd. The ship then kicks off its local program with 5-night cruise to Bermuda, sailing round trip from the Maryland home port. The itinerary includes an overnight stop at King's Wharf, in addition to 2 full days at sea. The short cruise is followed by 3 12-night voyages to Bermuda, Florida, the Caribbean, and the Bahamas. And also sailing round trip from Baltimore. The itineraries feature visits to different ports, including King's Wharf, Port Canaveral, St. Martin, St. San Juan, St. Thomas, and Great Stirrup Key. After concluding the last cruise in the series in early 2024, the Sun heads back to Miami, where it's set to kick off a winter season in South America. Also interesting for me. In addition to the Sun, the Norwegian Sky is scheduled to offer Canada and New England cruises, departing Baltimore in 2023. Between September and October, the ship's program includes itineraries that either depart from or end in the Cruise Maryland terminal. With visits to several ports in the region, 10 and 11-night cruises will be operated in the open jaw format, sailing between Baltimore and Quebec City. Sky is set to return to the U.S. home port in late 2024 for a similar operation. So Sky and Sun will both be home porting at different times during the year in Baltimore. My fondness for the Sun was not particularly for the ship itself, although it was a great cruise. I also made a very close dear friend from Wichita John on the Norwegian Sun. But more importantly, in the middle of the Norwegian Sun cruise, which was a 7-day cruise, I discovered Scootaround and ended up half of the cruise with a scooter for the first time. That Norwegian Sun kept on board. And everybody knows what Scootaround has meant to me ever since. They are the reason that I'm able to do what I do with my various infirmities and disabilities. So, pretty cool that both Sun and Sky, of course, Sky was the first cruise that I did with Hot Air Tom and Cindy in August. So, both very fun ships for me. Okay, Cunard. This is kind of interesting. Of course, luxury cruise line Cunard offers its guests the opportunity to experience the world-popular Rocky Mountaineer train when they sail through Alaska aboard the Queen Elizabeth this summer. Passengers will be able to extend their Alaska journey with either a 4-night pre-cruise train experience or a 3-night post-voyage package, depending on the sailing date. The 3-night Rocky Mountain tour takes travelers on an eastbound journey from Vancouver to Calgary, while the 4-night train goes the opposite direction and gives additional day of sightseeing in Banff, with the highlight being a trip to Banff gondola, on the Banff gondola. The prices on the tours are a little pricey, but then this is Cunard. The 3-night post-voyage tour is around $2,800, double occupancy. But it includes a bunch of stuff. The 4-night tour is about $3,200 per person. So, but it's a really good one. Guests traveling on the Rocky Mountaineer train The only passenger rail service on the historic rail route will experience luxurious coaches, expansive glass dome windows, 180-degree panoramic views of shimmering lakes, winding canyons, and snow-capped mountains, all offered from different angles. Popular for its gold leaf service, Rocky Mountaineer provides an onboard dining room where vacations can indulge in culinary delights inspired by the region. Brand new complimentary bar service as well. So you got to figure all those things in when you're looking at the price tag, guys. You can't necessarily just look at the overall price. I have found that out in dealing with some of the cruise packages. And it works both ways. All right, the last story today, and this is, I have to admit, folks, I have been over the last, about year, talking very positively about Nassau with the work that they're doing at the port itself, the expansion, the new pier facilities, the new dock facilities, and what will be opening in May of this year. And quite frankly, on a more private basis, I've been taken to task by some people who still are very uneasy about anything to do in Nassau because of some of their past experiences there. And first, in my defense, if there is a defense to this, I would say that for the last 10 years or so, I've not done any excursions in Nassau. I've been strictly in Nassau and just over across the street to the straw market and back. Maybe just a quick run down to Senior Frogs once in a while. But none of the excursions from Nassau. But anyway, I've been taken to task by some people that I like and respect a lot. So I listen to their opinions. This story, however, came out of Bahamas during a panel at the Bahamas Business Outlook. Nassau Cruise Port CEO Mike Mara said that the Bahamas has failed to provide value and experiences for cruise visitors. He said that a recent survey by cruise lines of regional cruise ports showed Nassau's port ranked 19th out of 20 cruise ports. Nassau Cruise Port is incapable of providing experiences, service, and value for 26,000 people, which is what they can get per day now with the expansion. We might be able to accommodate 5, 6, 7,000 people, but that still leaves 15 to 20,000 people saying, what can I do? Where can I go? We get it every day in Nassau. According to Mara, there's more work to be done when it comes to creating experience for visitors to the world's busiest transit cruise port. He commented that the tourist sites such as Water Tower and the forts need to be developed into more well-rounded experience for the visitors. Littered with aggressive tour operators, filthy streets, and residents trying to sell cruise guests drugs, a lot of passengers opt to stay on the ship when docked in Nassau. And yes, I used to do that as well until they started the construction project, and that's what started me going back ashore at Nassau. The port used to be the only destination in the area, but now there are 5 cruise line destinations within 150 miles of Nassau, so Nassau's not the only game in town. The port redevelopment project, which is adding new cruise berths, they're done. Covered walkways, a shopping and dining district, and entertainment is scheduled to open in early May of this year. That still doesn't discuss or take on the issues of the filthy streets, the aggressive tour operators trying to grab you as you get off the ship, and the guys selling drugs. They need to clean that stuff up and make all of Nassau more tourist friendly. Then maybe some of those people won't stay on the boats now when they see the nice facilities that the Nassau port people are building and opening. It will be open in May. So it's kind of an interesting dichotomy there, as now with somebody in his position taking Nassau and the Bahamas to task. Very interesting. All right, that's going to wrap up the news portion of today's show. So we're going to hop over in the chat room and see if anybody is fussing at me today. Yo, Brooklyn is in the house. Eddie says he's on the road listening. Glad to have you with us, Eddie. Looking forward to seeing you here in a couple days. Oh, Hot Air Tom is here from Cape Town, South Africa. I finally got synced with the time change for the show. It's 6 p.m. there. Okay, that's nice. Of course, I talked about Hot Air Tom and his trip some today. Hot Air Tom is probably going to say that none of that was true. But however, that's okay. Mike's with us. Hi, Mike. Hot Air Tom said had a terrific day touring the area. Cindy's here. Hi, Cindy. Kenneth's with us. Eddie says, nice time for dinner. Enjoy, Tom. Says, good morning to everybody. There's Dennis. Hello, Chillie. It's almost Bruins night, celebrating Scottish bard Robert Burns' Old Lang Syne and his ode to a mouse. Oh, yeah. By the way, Dennis, I may not do some of the things that I had planned on doing because I have had a couple other people talk to me about possible issues with going out on my scooter in the evenings alone. That they're not real wild about that idea for security's sake. I'm going to wait to make a final decision on how much running around I'm going to do until I get there and talk to the folks there in the hotel and to get a little better handle of it on the line. I am Friday at lunch at this point. I'm planning to Uber out to get some fried chicken and hopefully set up the Uber to pick me up at a couple hours later or something. I'll see. I'll do something when I get there. However, some of the other things that I was planning on doing on my scooter, which is one thing I'm doing scooter stuff in the daytime. It's another thing if it's going to take me after dark. So I may have to do some switching around there. Consider Amtrak if the weather is not good or drive after the show. You're talking? Yeah, I know there's Amtrak from here down there, but I'm flying. So we do have tomorrow's weather looks at this point okay. I think everything is going to be to the south and east of me here, and Richmond might be a little rough flying with the high altitude winds, but we'll see. Anyway, I am flying tomorrow, which will be a first for a long time for me. I haven't flown since last April. I've managed to go almost a year without getting on an airplane, which is, to me, is pretty good. Don't worry, we'll keep an eye on Chillie, so he behaves next week. He might be keeping an eye on me. That's absolutely true, Eddie. Katie's with us, listening during my lunch. Safe travels, Chillie. Keep us updated. Oh, I will. And, who knows? I might get to the airport there and have a few minutes and go live and do something from the airport. You never know with me. It's just that I'm not going to have the time. I spend a couple, 3 hours between researching and writing and putting everything together for a show. And I don't have the time for that for tomorrow and being able to get my appointed schedule. So anyway, we'll see. Consider doing live stream during your journey to NOLA. Yeah, if I can. I don't know how much I can I'm flying on Breeze Air, which was actually at Hot Air Tom's suggestion because he liked the size of the seats. So I've never flown Breeze before because it's relatively new and only has select days that it flies from Richmond to New Orleans. So we'll see. Hot Air Tom laughing at the yard that I was talking. What yard? That's absolutely the truth, and I'm sticking to it. All those pictures were from today. Let's see, I didn't unyarn that. I said part of them were yet. Oh, all of them were today. Both places. You did the seals and the penguins in the same day. Wow. Cindy did kick you out of the house early this morning then. Hi, Nikki. How you feeling? We were thinking about you yesterday. Nikki says greetings from Jacksonville. Everybody says greetings. Visit Greenland and Iceland on a transatlantic repositioning cruise, very affordable. Yeah, I had that on was one of my bucket lists. I just have not hit one at the right timing yet for that. And I want to see what the pricing is on this and what, every now and then I get a chance on getting a real bargain from Holland America. And yeah, we'll see. I'm not averse at all of grabbing a bargain if it's floated about. So, Mykonos. Oh, I said Mykonos. Mykonos. Yep. I should know. I should have remembered that one. Sorry, Dennis. Nikki says, thanks, y'all, to everybody. Everything went well. But in the words of one of the fabulous furry freak brothers, what does it all mean? Yes, indeed. I understand that so well, Nick. Yep. Katie says, what did you find out? Message me if you don't want to say here. Kenneth's with us. Hi, Kenneth. When we were there, a lot of people, at least 5 or 6 different, offered us Cuban cigars. I don't know if that qualifies as drugs or not. Now, Cuban cigars wouldn't qualify as drugs, but they'd be illegal to bring back into the country. So it's almost the same. And yeah, I've seen them. They've hounded me on that too. And it is, there are places in Mexico that do the same thing. The aggressive marketing by the folks in ports. But that kind of comes with the territory to a certain degree. I understand what they're saying about the streets being dirty and crowded, and now you're putting 3 or 4 times as many people in there one day. And there were some issues with at least some of my quite frankly, some of my gay friends that were had some issues with being attacked while they were there, and they just absolutely quit getting off the ships there. And I certainly appreciate that as well. So, yeah, so Nassau needs to do some more. I mean, it's great what they've done at the port, but now Nassau and the Bahamas needs to really turn that into a destination. When did NOLA become less safe? I'm just getting reports on the crime wave in New Orleans over the last few months. I don't know. That's what last time I was there, which has been several years ago now, I felt perfectly fine doing things on my own. But that was before Katrina. So I don't know. Amtrak is an alternative. Yeah, man. And Amtrak actually runs, 15 minutes from the farm here. The Amtrak to New Orleans train. Is Cindy going on the trip with us to Rome? No, that's the one that I'm taking Cindy's place. However, I am not sleeping with Hot Air Tom. We're going to be splitting space. Yes, I'm taking Cindy's place. I'm going to be the one walking around saying, "I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him." Cindy is known for, "I'm going to kill him." I love Cindy to death. Oh my goodness. The scammers were trying to change 10 from climbing the Queen's staircase in Nassau, so we just walked away. Yeah, that's kind of stuff happens. And I've had people approach me on the drug things, even when I was going just over, from the port over to the straw market, which was, what was that? Not even 100 yards, 50 yards, and be approached on drugs. I want to buy this. I want to buy that. No, thank you, dude. I'm going over here to get my pina colada. And I will say that I never had any problems doing what I've done in Nassau by myself. Not like they're telling me to be aware of in the evenings in New Orleans. That to me, I find strange. So I want to get there and see that and feel it myself, which we're going to do. So I just reply in a foreign language. Some of us aren't smart enough to know a foreign language. Of course, I can use a little pidgin Spanish, a little pidgin French, but that's not a whole lot, as you can tell with my struggles with Italian pronunciations, Dennis. So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. Again, I've got a busy afternoon getting ready, packing, getting my car loaded up for tomorrow morning. So, when I get out of here at 6 o'clock in the morning, I'll just go get in the car and take off. So I got to go to the bank. I got to do all those pre-cruise things before I get out of here at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I got another prescription to pick up. But anyway, again, tomorrow, no show, no Cruise Amigos. I'll try to do a live stream sometime during the day tomorrow. And of course, we'll do a bunch of live streams once I get to New Orleans with what's going on there and where I'm going there and whatever. So stay tuned. This is going to be a fun one. This is going to be a fun almost 2 weeks by the time I actually get back to Virginia. So it's going to be a great one. I'm so looking forward to it. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today and tomorrow. So, as always, guys, we appreciate the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified anytime I go live or when I post a new video. And that's going to wrap it up for today. As always, folks, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising, and hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you hopefully sometime tomorrow from somewhere between here and New Orleans. Have a terrific day, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.